I'm Dale Branum. Welcome to my yard, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Nature in your own backyard. What this show is about, in case you have missed previous episodes, is learning to enjoy and understand better and appreciate nature in your own backyard, your own landscape, and your own yard. I've been landscaping in Denton and around Denton for almost 30 years. Early on in that process, I got converted to going organic, which is what we call the natural way, or organic methods and materials. And I've been not only practicing that, but preaching and teaching it for many, many years in classes in schools, churches, Sunday schools. I taught many courses at the University of North Texas until those became defunct last year. And I've done all I can to bring to other people what I'm finding a very exciting and wonderful thing about living with nature more closely. I've written a lot of articles in local newspapers, and at last I'm doing this TV show to share with you some ideas of how to enjoy and benefit from the pleasures of going organic. Well, you know, for a long time early on in that process, I felt kind of like a Lone Ranger or one of the voices in the wilderness about this stuff. Seems like we were looking like the lunatic fringe to a lot of people, but times do change. And over the last 20 years, increasingly, more and more people, it seems, are becoming aware, awake, and beginning to practice more natural methods in their landscapes. Of course, there's a rising concern that we all have and has been touted about the environmental crises that we face as human beings on this planet. The bells are ringing, the klaxons are sounding. I even recently got a little article about the GM is beginning to wake up and go green. So from the top to the bottom, from politics, government, agencies, programs, businesses, big industries, corporations, international, and down to the local businesses like us here. But finally, and most important, is you and me, the local homeowners. Those of us who think we own the land. And what we can do all together, it takes teamwork from the top to the bottom. But you and I as homeowners have a crucial part in this, in showing how to take care of our own landscapes. It's stewardship, I think, that's bigger than simply practical ethics and good sense, though it is that. The older I get, and the more I learn, the more I feel there's a sense of connection, a kind of sacred connection that we can make with nature around us, even in our own backyard, if we pay attention and learn and grow. And so what I'm hoping to be is a beneficial organism in my own landscape. It's a great adventure, and one I think that never ends. So come on along and join us on the organic revolution. If you haven't already, take the time and learn how to do it. Well, we're going to talk about some things on this show about what's happening in our yards right now as summer begins. So come on into the back and let me tell you some things I've been learning that might be useful to you. Well, welcome to a little shadier place and a little cooler place in my yard, back under the great oak trees that we enjoy here, these wonderful post oaks. It's summertime though, and it's hot already. Even though we're shooting this in the last week of May, we'll soon have summer fully upon us. Fortunately, we just had a little rain the other day, about 3 or 4 inches in Denton, so we're better off. But the mosquitoes are out. Well, summertime, great time to get out and explore nature in your own backyard and wherever you can. It's vacation time for a lot of people. School's out. And people are thinking of going on trips and seeing wonderful places, scenic adventures, and the beauty of nature throughout the country. Wildlife, maybe. in the Rockies or at the coast, or perhaps you can go to Hawaii if you're lucky. But what I'm suggesting is that we have lots of adventures to have right in our own backyards and very near at hand. So get out and explore nature where it's right with you. Take half-day vacations or half-hour holidays. But before we get into that, a little further afield from our own backyard is the things that are right close around us. Within a half-hour to an hour drive, you can go to some of the most wonderful nature centers that you'll ever find. Particularly, I'm thinking of Ray Roberts State Park up here. Get online and we'll give you the addresses to get this, or call them up. Find them in your local phone book. Ray Roberts State Park. Lots of activities, guided tours, special programs, lectures, trails, exploration to do, and many, many things throughout the summer. Just get in touch with them and find out. By the way, in today's Record Chronicle, there was a wonderful story about eagles at Lake Ray Roberts. I hope you caught that one. Ray Roberts is a great place to go, but a little farther afield down in Dallas, there's the Dallas Nature Center. And just recently I visited the Fort Worth Nature Center. Here's their calendar for the month of May and June. I attended a 2-hour session at Fort Worth Nature Center a couple of weeks ago on dragonflies, and now I can recognize them in my own backyard. So these are some places you might want to consider for a short trip for a half a day or a few hours with your friends or with your grandkids or whoever would like to go along. Most of all, I'd suggest that you contact or get in touch with the Master Naturalist program. Here's my file on them. And as I see, I'm wearing my badge and proud to say that I've been for 6 years now a Master Naturalist, and I've learned more about nature in my own backyard and in my county than I ever have in the previous 30 years I've lived here. So it's a great organization to hook up with. Maybe you'd even like to become one. The Master Naturalist's next flight of education begins in September. But even if not, there are lots of free and opportunities, trail programs, and schools, opportunities for education and excitement all over Denton County. Check in with the Elm Fork chapter of Texas Master Naturalists. You can get them online, or you can reach them through the county extension office. Where I've learned a lot of this is through the Master Naturalist, but you have to go find it on your own. So what I'm suggesting is that you spend some of your vacation time exploring your own backyard for a half hour or an hour or two. And let me suggest that when you do this, you don't take any tools. It's not a time for gardening. Do that another time. Don't take your newspapers, magazines, radios, telephones if you can help it. Just be there and pay attention. You'll be amazed at how many creatures you discovered. In our yard here, we see probably through the year 20 or 30 different species of birds pretty consistently. Lizards, frogs galore, snakes, lots of little lizards. Sometimes we see bunnies, squirrels. We have a family that lives in our oak trees, a 5 family. And occasionally we see foxes. Sometimes if we go out at night, possums, squirrels, everything you can imagine. Sometimes a skunk, but that's pretty rare. But one of the things you're bound to see in your yard is a lot of insects. It's bug time. The world is full of bugs, and that's what I want to talk about some today. What I like to do sometime is we'd have a special program on butterflies. I've been learning about those, and we have some excellent butterfly ladies in town who are experts at the subject, and I'd like to get them on sometime. But today, let's leave off the beautiful ones, and we're going to talk about some of the more unpleasant ones. Most of all, though, I must mention this book that every home and every landscape should have, and that's Howard Garrett, Malcolm Beck's Texas bug book, subtitled The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is a fantastic book to learn about all the kinds of insects you're ever likely to encounter in your yard or in your house, and with wonderful scientific information about how they live and where to find them and what to do with them, how to treat them, but most especially because this is written from an organic approach, how to deal with them in a non-toxic, non-poisonous manner. There are a lot of organic alternatives now available. And wonderful stories you won't find in any other bug book about observing and watching what happens in the real life of bugs. How you learn to depend on predator bugs to take care of your pest bugs. So I highly recommend sooner or later you get a copy of that, and eventually you'll want some other bug books and butterfly books. But what we have to talk about today is necessity, one of the worst insect problems we have, and that is mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are the bane of our life, and the land is full of them now after a fresh rain. How do you deal with mosquitoes? Well, I'd like to share a few ideas with you, many of which you've heard, but perhaps a couple of new ones. The first thing is, don't spray poisons. Don't spray poisons in the air to try to kill mosquitoes. Many of us can remember years ago when the cities used to go around doing that, spraying DDT and malathion, things like that. It does very little good. You can't kill them in the air very much. As Beck and Garrett say in their book, you might as well be going around trying to kill them with a fly swatter. But in fact, you kill a lot of other beneficial insects that are predators on mosquitoes, like damselflies and dragonflies are voracious predators of mosquitoes. Well, so don't spray poisons in the air. It does no good. There are some things like orange oil, which is taken from the peelings of oranges and sweet smelling, wonderful stuff. 1 teaspoon of that in a quart of this, of water, makes a spray that will kill any kind of insect on contact. But you got to hit them. So you might use this before a garden party or something to spray around the weeds and grasses and bushes in your yard where they're lurking. That'll help some. But there's not any very good way to eliminate them in the air. The way to eliminate mosquitoes as much as possible is to kill them when they're young, to catch them in the larval stage, to eliminate their nursery places, standing water in your yard. If you got a bucket full of water, in 4 or 5 days, it can develop mosquitoes. Now right here next to me, for instance, is a tub full of water. Over here's a fountain. You may not be able to see too well. This fountain is slowly running, and any kind of water expelling fountain where the water is being circulated, mosquitoes cannot live. They can't live in a fish pond down there because the fish will eat them. But in dead water, this is a dead fountain that I haven't repaired yet, they will. And I looked a few days ago, and you remember, you can see the little wrigglers going up and down and up and down. Well, there's a wonderful remedy for that, and it's been around for a long time. If you can't dump the water, you can put this in it. You find these hanging on the shelves of all your nurseries and garden centers. What they are is little donuts of some kind of material, and what's inside of them is a bacterium in suspended animation. It may have been there for years inside of this. It's called BTI, Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis, but just tell your nurseryman you want some Mosquito Dunks. And what these are is, the other day when I saw the larvae in here, I crumbled a few grains of this. That's all it takes. You don't have to use the whole donut. And 24 hours later, when I looked, there were no wigglers. There were some floating dead on the surface. But that works. That really works. And it's cheap. About $1 a donut is what it costs. If you have standing water out in your backyard or places that are low, if you can swale them and drain the water out, that helps. But if you can't, throw one of these in, or some pieces of it. BTI, or Mosquito Dunks. One of the best ways to head off mosquitoes before they ever come at you. But then what about defense once they're after you? There are only two ways that I know of. One is avoidance and the other is repulsion. Avoidance means you go in the house when the mosquitoes are out. So keeping yourself away from them at the right times, the times that they are out, which is not all the time. Repulsion, well, the fact is there are many kinds of mosquito repellents. We find that the best and most effective and safest of them are generally made from herbs. Lemon, mints, tansy, oil of lavender is a highly recommended one. It's up to you choosing your mosquito sprays to keep them off. Personally, I don't do that a lot because they don't bother me. Some people, they bother more than others. I understand people that eat a lot of garlic don't have problems, but then they may not have a big party of friends out either. So, partly what you eat, partly what you breathe. Mosquitoes come after you because of what we're breathing. They hone in on our breath and then they attack us. And by the way, it's only the females that bite. The males are out hanging around sipping nectar out of plants and waiting to do their duty. But the way to get rid of them around you is to, quote, repel or confuse them, I think it is, by confusing smells. That's what these are. Citronella in little things, or the little tiki lamps we use sometimes, that helps to discourage and keep them away for a few feet for a while. But there is no absolute repellent. It's only a matter of time. But the thing is, as I'm saying, a lot of these are made from herbs. And as a matter of fact, a lot of those herbs you can grow in your garden, in your yard, all around, and have year-round mosquito repellents right at your back door. One more before we go. In just a minute, we're going to go down and meet with Jeannie and my wife and learn about some of these plants you can have in your yard which will help repel mosquitoes. But not only that, they attract good bugs like dragonflies and butterflies. One more secret weapon you may not have heard of, and that's Airpower. Mosquitoes can only fly at about a half a mile an hour. So if you're out and got a breeze blowing a few miles an hour, you're home free. Or an electric fan right in your neighborhood can not only keep you a little cooler, but it gives you a few more bite-free hours to sit out and do your nature study. Well, it's about tea time, so let's go down and see Jeannie and learn about some of these plants that you might like to have in your yard. Well, hi, hon.
Hi.
And you've assembled a whole jungle full of plants here for us to talk about.
Yes.
And tea.
Yeah, we've got our TLC herbal tea.
Excellent. Let me try it. That's a good one. What'd you put in it?
Today we've got lemongrass, which we have right here.
Lemongrass.
We've got lemon balm, lemon basil, pineapple sage, and we have two kinds of mint, English and candy.
English mint
and candy
mint. Here's to your health.
Really refreshing drink.
Very tasty. Several lemony flavored things. And that's what we do most days, make some tea out of the things growing out in our yard. They're wonderful for us. We think they're beneficial. They're certainly good tasting, and they're very cheap.
Yes.
Not very costly at all.
Much more fun to pick a few herbs than it is to go to the grocery store.
Indeed. And a lot of these are, as I've been telling the folks, some of them we believe discourage mosquitoes because of their strong flavors and smells, and they have reputations for that.
And their oils.
And their oils, putting them in essential oils. But having them in your yard will also help to discourage mosquitoes from being around. And even more important, perhaps, These are great attractors, a lot of them for butterflies and hummingbirds and dragonflies. And also little bees and wasps and all, which are predators on mosquitoes and other things.
The beneficials. It attracts the beneficials, and the more variety of different aromatic leaves and different color leaves and plants that you have, the more beneficials and the more bed bugs are confused and feel unwelcome.
I see some little guys flying around here right now, but none of them happen to be mosquitoes. They're other little insects. Tell us about what are the lemon flavored ones. These are ones we like a lot. There are a lot of different lemon flavors.
There are a lot of the lemon balm is a perennial. It likes morning sun, and it makes a little ground cover. Dies to the ground in the winter and comes back. Lemon basil is an annual basil. It's, of course, also used to, like the other basils, to flavor foods. But it is a pretty annual. It won't stand the winter.
Pretty flowers.
Yes, and you can save it. They will sometimes seed themselves, or you can collect the seeds. Has pretty white flowers on it. And then the pineapple sage is a perennial as well. It will die to the winter in the ground and come back, and it has beautiful red, this one's not in bloom now, but it has beautiful red tubular flowers on it that attract hummingbirds.
Kind of like those. They're kind of red like that sage.
On this
and this gets to be a big bush. Pretty flowers. Pineapple flavored leaves. There's another lemon over there. What's that?
This is the lemon grass,
yeah.
Which makes a big clump grass, though of course the dragonflies love to light and rest on the one we have by our fish pond. It comes back bigger every year.
It's huge now.
Yeah. And then we didn't use it today, but the Mexican mint marigold is another aromatic herb.
Oh, yeah.
That is good. It smells like licorice. It's good in tea, baked goods, and it's supposed to help with like little kids have an upset tummy.
Smells like licorice or anise. Just one leaf will do. Beautiful yellow flowers in the fall.
In the fall, it has a beautiful flower.
What else do we need to tell them about?
Well, we have a lavender that is just coming into bloom. And you can make tea out of lavender flowers and leaves. It's a very calming tea. And it is, the leaves are also, of course, used in bouquets and in sachets.
Lots and lots of cosmetics and perfumes use that. And
yes.
You can grow it on your own yard in a high and dry place.
Yeah, it needs good drainage and good full sun. And then we have Echinacea, which is a wonderful, the purple coneflower is a wonderful native perennial. All parts of the plants are edible. So you can make a coffee-like beverage from the roots, and the roots are the medicinal part. You can also make a tea from the flowers and the leaves. And it attracts beneficials as well.
It's a big hummingbird attractor.
It is.
A lot of the hummingbirds like the nectar on that.
And then we have another, this is a Salvia greyi. All of the salvias with their tubular flowers attract hummingbirds and butterflies. The yarrows are, I believe, a host and a nectar plant for butterflies.
Never better explain what host plants are. Host plants are things that butterflies like to lay eggs on, and then the eggs become worms, and the worms become...
Like this, like the butterfly weed.
That's one. And... oh, here's a good host plant.
Parsley.
Parsley, which is also good to eat and a good decorative plant. But it's great for raising butterflies. Huh?
Yes. And passion flower vines. And then, now these bloom in the fall just in time for the monarchs to feast on them, the Eupatoriums. This is Joe Pye weed, which will have a beautiful blue or white flower on it in the fall.
Oh, and those, we've seen those covered with dozens of monarchs at the same time. If you want to get monarch butterflies to your yard, Eupatorium, it's called, or
Eupatorium.
mist flower. It comes in purple and white,
And
different
blue.
colors, and blues. So lots of these plants you can get. Now, there's a butterfly just coming in. Did you catch him? If you plant them, they will come, I tell you. What was it we were missing to say about the butterflies coming? You can plant them now, many of them, if you'll take care of them and watch them through the summer. They're tough, and they're available at your local nurseries. And may I put in this word, when you go to shopping for plants and for organic supplies, go to your locally owned nurseries that have been around for a while. They have the products, and they know the products, and they have the staff that understands them, rather than, if I may say so, the big boxes. Try your local nurseries. All of these plants will be there. All of these plants are beautiful. All of these plants will attract good bugs and repel bad ones to some extent. Nothing's perfect in nature. Hear the birds calling?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you in our yard. So until next time, we'll wish you happy trails in your own backyard and great adventures exploring nature. Thanks for coming.
See you next time.
Here's to you.